What's going on YouTube? It's GB Smokescreen here. We are back for another video. This is going to be my Elementsaber or Elemental Lord deck profile. Now I've already made two videos on this deck. One of them being very triggering. But this deck is still a lot of fun. So this is going to be my deck profile video, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. And let me know any feedback on this deck in the comment section below. Anyway, let's get right on into it. So first off, we are playing 3 copies of the new Elemental Lord, Percy. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I'm guessing that's how. Anyway, 3 of the light Elemental Lord. Pretty much all the Elemental Lords, they pretty much have the effect where you can only summon them when you have exactly 5 of the attribute that they are in your graveyard. And they all share the effect where when they leave the field, your next battle phase is skipped on your next turn. So that's a little bit of a downside, but they all have really good effects when they get summoned. Anyway, so Percy, his effect is you can special summon them when you have 5 light monsters in your grave, exactly 5, and then when you special summon, he is a Raigeki. Raigeki is your opponent's board. He destroys all your opponent's monsters, and then that's it. Next, we're playing 2 Pyrorex, the Elemental Lord. This card is you need 5 fire monsters in your graveyard, and then when he's summoned, he destroys 1 monster on your opponent's field, and then both players will take damage equal to the original attack of the destroyed monster. So pretty much, I guess you could say a Ring of Destruction. I guess you could say that. So yeah, he's a pretty decent card. Then we have 2 Winrose, the Elemental Lord. Now this card pretty much takes 5 wins to put him on the board, and then when he is special summoned, he is a Harpy's Feather Duster. Now this card, honestly, you could put this to 1 because nowadays trap cards aren't really, like, I guess you say relevant nowadays because a lot of people are playing OTK builds. A lot of people are playing OTK decks, so I don't think so. Winrose you could put down to 1, but you know what? I prefer the 2 because honestly I feel like nowadays there is still more decks that do play back row than there are decks that don't. So yeah, 1 Multiglacier the Elemental Lord. Pretty much you need 5 water monsters in the grave, and as you can see, like from what you can see of my deck, I don't have any other waters. So he's literally the hardest one to get on the board. But anyway, when he is summoned, he discards 2 random cards in your opponent's hand or their entire hand if they only have 2. So this card pretty much just just fucks your opponent's hand. This card fucks with their back row. This one just gets some burn damage, and then this one fucks their entire board. So this card's actually not too. Honestly, it's pretty good. It's a good effect. It's very good in a Mermail deck, I'll say that. But this card pretty much, just gets rid of your opponent's hands and everything, get them into a -2, or I guess a -1. I guess you could say if you went first and then got this card off. But still a very good card. Okay, so on to the Elementsaber. We have 3 Elementsaber Willards. This card is definitely by far the best Elementsaber in the deck. Now this card pretty much, its effect is you can send 2 monsters from your hand to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. And then depending on the monsters that you sent, depending on the attributes of the monster that you send, your Elemental Lords and Elementsabers gain a protection effect as long as this Elementsaber is on the board. Now, so if you send a Earth or a Wind, they can't die by battle. If you send a Fire or a Water monster, they can't die by card effects. And if you send a Light or a Dark, your opponent cannot target your monsters with card effects. So this card pretty much just you put monsters in your graveyard, which you do want in this deck, and you want your Elementsabers in your grave as fast as possible. Now this and then also following that, you can also give your monsters protection. Now personally, I'm going to say this right now. Personally, I throw in a Wind and a Light monster every single time, just because They can die. Not being able to die by battle is very, very good. It's very useful. So that way you just keep your monsters on the board and have a little bit of a wall to protect you. And then not being targeted by card effects. Now if you have this effect built in, then you don't have to worry about being destroyed by card effects. Most card effects that do destruction involve targeting. The only ones that really can't do that is Dark Hole, Raigeki, Mirror Force, cards like that. Cards that do destruction without targeting. But most cards do destruction through targeting. So being able to be not targeted makes it very limited on how many what your opponent can destroy on your board. Anyway, next we have 3 Elementsaber Rapawira. I think that's how you pronounce it. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is the worst Elementsaber in the deck. It's definitely the worst, but it's still not bad. Basically, what it is you can send a Elementsaber from your hand to the graveyard once a turn, and then it negates the activation of a spell or trap card. And this is during either player's turn. This is a quick effect. So you can just send an Elementsaber from your hand to the grave, and then negate a spell or trap card, literally for free. And then its second effect is once a turn, if it's in the graveyard, you can change this card's attribute while it's in the graveyard until the end of the turn. So you can change this card to, so this monster is normally a light monster, so you can switch this card's attribute to fire, wind, water, light. You can change it to divine if you wanted to. But yeah, it's still a very good card. Pretty much, the main reason why I put it in the deck is because it can change its attribute. That's literally the only reason. I don't care for the negation effect, because of all the protection that Willard gives us. But it's still a very viable card. Anyway, we got 3 Elementsaber Mallow. This is the best, second best Elementsaber, I would say. This card's effect is, basically, once per turn, you can send an Elementsaber from your hand to the grave to send one Elementsaber or an Elemental Lord from your deck to the grave, except another Mallow. And then it has the effect where it can change its attribute in the graveyard. All the Elementsabers except Willard, they share that effect where they can change their attribute. So this card pretty much is a foolish burial, I guess you could say. It's a foolish burial for your Elementsabers, and just puts more Elementsabers into your graveyard, which you definitely do want. Next, we are playing 3 Elementsaber Makaini. This is pretty much your Stratos for the deck. It just sends an Elementsaber from your hand to the grave to search out an Elementsaber or an Elemental Lord from your deck. So this card just gives like a little consistency to the deck as well as Mallow. So this card, very, very viable. Alright. Then we are playing triple copies of the Grinder Golem. We're going with the Grinder Golem shenanigans with the deck. Because honestly, with getting a Skull Deep on the field is just so damn good. Alright, being able to draw 4 cards and then going into other to hopefully draw into our combo cards is very, very useful. Then we got Triple Ash Blossom, just a little bit of a little hand fuckery with your opponent. So yeah, so we just got the 3 Ash Blossoms. Alright. Then we got, for the spells, we have 3 Temple of the Elemental Lords. This is definitely a very good field spell. This deck can't function properly without this field spell. I am going to tell you this now. You need this field spell in order to function. Okay. So its effect basically is all your monsters, not just your Elementsabers and Elemental Lords, every monster you have will gain 200 attack and defense for every monster in your graveyard with a different attribute. So because the Elementsabers can change their attributes all the time, you can just keep changing to different attributes over and over, and then you just keep getting more attack. So that's pretty good. Also, its effect, it has a Stratos effect. Pretty much once a turn, you just search out an Elementsaber from your deck to your hand, but your battle phase is skipped on the next turn, even if this card leaves the field. So it pretty much just like, if you don't have a Willard, I'll play this. All right, I'll search out a Willard, and then I can go on to my plays. But those first 2 effects, very good, but this third effect is by far the best. So its effect is, once a turn, if an Elementsaber you control or in your hand would activate an effect by sending cards from your hand to the grave, you can send an Elementsaber monster from your deck to the grave instead. Now, I'm going to say this right now. First off, that's very, very good because because with Willard's effect, basically you have to send 2 monsters in your hand to the grave to summon it to your field. But with this card, you can send them from your deck. You send them, instead of sending them from your hand, you can send them from your deck, and then you just get free monsters on the board. So it's kind of like a Dragon Shrine, I guess you could say. Same with the Mallow. So pretty much Mallow and Willard become Dragon Shrines. Makani becomes a Painful Decision, I guess you could say. And then the other one, I have no clue what you become. I don't know what card sends a card from your deck and negates a card. So I don't know anything like that. But I'm going to say this right now. It's something I've noticed, actually. Now I just write it again. It says once per turn if an Elementsaber uses their effect. I swear to God, I've used multiple Elementsaber effects in one turn with this card in the field, and I've always been able to send from deck. And I have no clue why it says once per turn when it's pretty much always. So maybe that's a bug. I have no clue. I don't know. Anyway, we got double Terraformer. I might put this up to triple, honestly, just if you want to see that field spell very often. But we got double the field spell. You just want to get to that field spell as fast as possible. Next, we got 2 Power Desires. We got triple copies of a lot of different cards. So honestly, banishing 3 cards. Sorry, 3 cards. 10 cards from your deck is really not a big deal. So just to get 2 draws. So it's not really a big deal. If you lose 10 of your cards, you do play triple copies of most of your cards. So it's still pretty good. Trade-in, we got triple trade-in. We got pretty much all the Elemental Lords plus your Grinder Golem. They are level 8, so this card gives you a bit of draw power and everything. But you don't really want to be discarding your Elemental Lords, but that's not going to be an issue because of another card that's in here for the archetype. So I will get to that in just a moment. Then we play one reinforcement of the army. All the Elementsabers, they're warrior monsters, so you can simply just roto them out. So that's very good. Then we got 2 Elemental Training. This card is actually, it's decent. I'll say that. It's pretty good. Its effect is pretty much while it's on the field, your opponent cannot target your field spell or destroy it. It can't be destroyed or targeted by card effects while this is on the field. And then once a turn, you contribute any monster and then special summon the Elementsaber from your deck with a different attribute. A different original attribute from your deck. So that's actually really good. So it gets you more elements. Now I'm going to say this right now. Don't ever summon Willow off this card. You get nothing out of it. You aren't going to, if you do that, you get no protection and you don't get any monsters in your graveyard. Really, you just get a 24 beat stick on your field. That's really it. I don't know. If you need to do it in desperate measures, then go for it. Alright, you can go right for it. If that's what's going to help you save your ass, then go right for it. Anyway, this card's last effect is you can send this face-up card to the graveyard to discard your entire hand. And then you can add Elemental Lords from your graveyard to your hand equal to the number of cards you discarded. So if you send 2, you add 2 elements. You got 2 Elemental Lords. So that's actually really, really good. So that's why we play the trade-ins, honestly, because you discard, get 2 draws, but this card, and then Elemental Train can just add them back if I need to. So that's also really good. And then we play 1 Solemn Warning, just like, honestly, for Pendulum Magicians mainly, because, being able to just stop their plays in their tracks is very, very good. Okay, on to the next deck. We're playing 2 Scald Eats. This card is just too fucking good. This card is, alright, Grinder Golem is a one card combo to make a Scald Eat. So it's actually really, really good. Then we got 2 Firewall Dragons. Alright, another very good card. I don't make Firewall very often. I'm going to say this now. I don't really make him very often, but he's here if we need him. Then we got 1 copy of the new Topologic guy. This card is so fucking good. I'm going to say this right now. Because pretty much, its effect is, basically, if a monster is special summoned to a zone it points to, you can banish that monster, and then every spell and trap card on the field is possible. And then your opponent takes 500 damage for each of their cards that were banished. So pretty much if you banish every spell and trap card that's on the field and the monster that was special summoned, and then for every card that your opponent lost For every card your opponent lost, they take 500. So that's actually really good. The only card so far that I've seen, just so you guys know, Ghost Ogre does stop this card in its tracks because if you use the effect, you can discard the Ghost Ogre. It destroys it, and then because of that, it's the monster that was special summoned. He's not pointing to anymore, so it completely cancels his ability. So that's another thing that I should probably point out. I found this out yesterday. I didn't know about this. But anyway, we're playing one Decode Talker. Just a generic little generic Link monster. Then we got one Summon Sorceress. This card pretty much you can target one of your Elementsabers and bring another one from your deck, so it's honestly very good. Then we're playing one of the Noble Knight Link monster. This card can just search out one of your Elementsabers, which is honestly really good. There we go. Okay, so we don't care about the equip card thing because we don't play any equip cards, but the searching mechanic for it is actually really, really good. Then we're playing two Akashic Magician, obviously, for the Grinder Golem combo. Two Security Dragon, the Grinder Golem combo. Then two Link Spider and a Link Creepo, also for the Grinder Golem combo. So that's it. Side deck, honestly, are just like personal text. So we got 3 Ghost Ogres and 3 Drone Lockbirds, obviously just to stun your opponent if they're playing a deck that's way faster than this deck. So that's one thing. Cosmic Cyclone, playing triple copies of that. This card just helps me get like these floodgate cards that are just freaking wandering around. So that's another thing. Playing triple Mask of Restrict. This card is mainly for True Dracos. I hate True Dracos, if you haven't noticed from my last video. But I hate that deck so freaking much, so I have Mask of Restricts in here to help with the deck. Also, it helps with Monarchs, so that's another thing. Then we're playing triple copies of Evenly Matched. This card is fucking bonkers. Oh my god. Especially if your opponent goes first, you can just play an Evenly Matched and just banish pretty much everything your opponent has. Except for one, obviously. But, that's pretty much it for this deck profile. Honestly, it's a very, very fun deck. If you haven't tried the deck, I highly recommend you try it out. I've seen lots of... I helped my friend with an Elementsaber deck, but he kind of wanted to make it his own style. He's tried so many different tries. He's tried it pure. He didn't like the pure. He tried Invoked. He couldn't make it work. He couldn't find a way to make it work. Then he tried it with, lawn mowing. Then he tried it with, Grasshook Screener. He still really couldn't do it. He still wasn't really getting much out of it. So he's still working on it and everything, but I feel like mine's already good to go. But anyway, play it however you guys feel. This is my personal preference on what I like in the deck. But anyway, that's going to be all for now. And if you guys enjoyed this deck profile, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And also let me know any suggestions in the comment section below of what you think I should add or remove from the deck. And that's going to be all for now. I will talk to you guys later. Goodbye.